computer. All right, today we're going to go over some of the questions that we've gotten on our worksheets. First, we're going to start with some one-step equation. Before we do that, I want to go to our learning intention. So let's pull this up real quick. And today we are learning how to solve two-step equations, but we're going to review some one-step first, and it's all underneath the same standard, which is 8EE7. Some of the success criteria, then the only thing that I've added on here is solving with one variable on both sides. How are we going to do that when we're solving equations with a variable on both sides? So we're reviewing one-step equation, reviewing two-step equations, and then we're also solving when there's a variable on both sides. All right, so let's get back to this whiteboard. And our first question on the worksheet says 26 is equal to 8 plus v. And in the chat, could you just go ahead and start putting what's my first step? And remember, this is solving. Let me put a text. Solving one-step equations. This is a review. And this is the worksheet that's in your Google Classroom that you'll have to go back and look. And if you already did it, this is a good way to check if you got your answers right. So in the chat, I am seeing we subtract 8 from both sides. Yep, subtract 8 from both sides because we're trying to get v by itself. Right now it says 8 plus v equals 26. I want it to say v equals something, all right? So I'm going to do minus 8. And whatever I do on one side, sure enough, got to do it on the other side, all right? Minus 8. So then this right here becomes 0 because 8 minus 8 is 0. And then I do 26 minus 8. What is 26 minus 8? (26 minus 8), 18. So now I have v is equal to 18. Or you could rewrite this and put it this way. Either way, it's saying the same thing. All right? So I do the additive inverse. It's called the additive inverse, which means I just put the opposite. So since 8 is positive, then I'm going to do a negative 8. So I could get eliminated. I want it gone because I want v to be by itself. I want it gone, out. And whatever you do on one side, you got to do it on the other side. Now the next question on the sheet, this is on the same worksheet that we're doing. It's the solving one-step equation questions on your Google Classroom. It was returned to you. This is a good way to check if you got it right. It's a good way to also get caught up. So the first one is 26 plus 8. 26 equals 8 plus v, and then question 2 is 3 plus p equals 8. Again, let's put in the chat what my first step, and I don't want you to tell me what to do. I want you to tell me the property. What is it called? What's the step called? It starts with an A. Right here. Give us 2 seconds. Additive inverse, that's it. And I'm going to do the additive inverse on the 3. Again, I want p to be by itself. So I need to get this 3 out of the way. All right. So I'm going to put a negative 3 on both sides because whatever you do on one side, you got to do it on the next. All right. So, and since this is positive, I'm going to do a negative. That's the additive inverse. Thanks for saying that property. So this now becomes 0 because 3 minus 3 is 0. 8 minus 3 is 5. So p is equal to 5. Yep, that's it. P is equal to 5. That's it. So those are the first 2 questions on the worksheet. There are 2 more. I'm going to give us about 2 seconds. Again, this is recorded. You could always go back and watch it. But I don't want to make the video too long because then it won't upload. So then we'll go to this question now. The next one is negative 104 equals 8x. How do I solve for x? So I want x by itself. Last time I had something that said 8 plus v. It didn't say 8v, it said 8 plus v. And I did minus 8. This one now says 8x. And I want x by itself. So what do? What's my first step if I want to solve this one? And remember, the goal is always to try and get the variable by itself. The goal is to try and get x by itself. I'm hearing divide by 8 and I'm hearing minus 8. So the opposite of multiply is divide, right? So in that case, that's what I would do. Remember, you always want to do the opposite. If it was 8 plus v, then I would subtract, because the opposite of a positive number, and this is adding, so then I subtract it. This one is multiplying. 8 times x. There's no times, but if we have the two variables or two numbers or a number and a variable together, it's saying that it's multiplying. All right, so then to get rid of it, I divide by 8. What if you do on one side? Sure enough, you got to do it on the other side. Now we got to do what 104 divided by 8 is, which is 13. But the 104 is negative, and a negative, the number divided by a positive number is negative, and 104 divided by 8 is 13. All right, so then I do equal, and this is just x, because this cancels out this. 8 cancels out 8. So x is equal to negative 13. That was number 3 on the first worksheet. Number 4, 10n equals 40. What is the first step? And I want you to tell me the property. I don't want you to tell me what to do in terms of what to divide or multiply, add or subtract. I want you to tell me what it's called. All right? Just like how you told me what additive inverse was, I want you to tell me the property for this one. Starts with an M. And just so we know, we will be dividing with this as well. Just like up here, where it had 8 times x, this is saying 10 times n. So in order for me to get rid of the 10, I need to divide it. And the property that I was looking for, it's called the multiplicative inverse. It's called the multiplicative inverse. All right. Then I have to divide 10 on both sides, because whatever I do on one side, I have to do it on the other side. 10 divided by 10 cancels out. So it's n equals 40 divided by 10 is 4. So my answer is n is equal to 4. And those were the 4 questions on the worksheet. They talk about the additive inverse and the multiplicative inverse.